So I need you to think back for a moment. Think back. Who was the very first group you saw in concert? Who was the very first group you saw in concert? When I was thinking about it, the very first group that I saw in concert was Duran Duran. My favorite song, Girls on Film. And I went to this concert, and I was so enjoying the concert, only to come to discover that I was listening to the warm-up band, and it wasn't Duran Duran, because it really wasn't my favorite group. It was the favorite group of the girl that I went to the concert with, and her favorite song was Girls on Film. So, of course, my favorite song was Girls on Film. Well, how could I know that the warm-up band wasn't Duran Duran? They're pretty noticeable, wouldn't you say, if you actually saw Duran Duran in concert? You couldn't confuse these guys with the warm-up band. They were the main attraction, but I confused them with a warm-up band. And there's a real philosophy of life lesson in this whole experience, that so often I confuse the warm-up band with the main attraction. So often I confuse the appetizer with the main course. So often I confuse the prologue with the real story. So often we confuse so much of the trappings around Jesus, and we miss the main attraction, Jesus. It is Jesus that the Magi came to see. It was Jesus. And what I love about this scene is how they followed the guidance of a star. As we hear in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 to 2, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem saying, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star at its rising and have come to do him homage." The Magi came and then did Jesus homage, left their gifts, and then left the scene and allowed Jesus to take center stage. Pay attention to the whole gospel scene. Yes, today is the celebration of the Feast of Epiphany. Yes, we're celebrating the Magi. But they're just pointing the way to who? Jesus. The Magi, they're just like the warm-up band. They sought out the main attraction, Jesus, and help point the way for us to discover the main attraction is Jesus. It's Jesus that will be the light in our darkness. It's the Jesus, as the prophet Isaiah put so beautifully in our first reading, that will make our hearts throb. We hear from the prophet Isaiah chapter 60, verse 2, and then verse 5. "Though darkness covers the earth, and thick clouds the peoples, upon you the Lord will dawn, and over you his glory will be seen. Then you shall see and be radiant. Your heart shall throb and overflow." In my life, so much of my life before Jesus was just the warm-up band. So much of my life before Jesus was just the appetizer. Or better yet, so much of my life before Jesus was just the prologue. But once I came to know Jesus, I discovered the main attraction. Once I came to know Jesus, I discovered who could be the light in the darkness. That light that's kept me going in a couple of crazy years. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope 2022 is so much better than 2021, and way better than 2020, which Reverend David pointed out to me. It's like, well, no, it's really 2022. And I'm like, oh, no, we're not doing 2020 with a TOO on the end of it. Let's not do that again. But it was my faith. It kept me going. It was my faith that was the light in the darkness. It's my relationship with Jesus kept my heart beating. It's Jesus that causes my heart to throb. And the wonderful thing is, yeah, I saw Duran Duran in concert, but believe it or not, I think they had limited appeal. Not everybody seemed to like Duran Duran. And it was fun because after last night's homily, So many people came up to me and they shared their first band they went to. Some of them I was jealous, like Garth Brooks. I'd love to see Garth Brooks in concert. And who did you see again? Billy Joel. Now that would be a concert to go to. But what I love about Jesus as the main attraction is, according to St. Paul, he's available to whom? All. He's the main attraction for all people. We hear in St. Paul's letter to the Ephesians, chapter 3, verse 4 through 6. When you read this, you can understand my insight into the mystery of Christ, which was not made known to the people in other generations, as it has now been revealed to his holy apostles and prophets by the Spirit, that the Gentiles are co-heirs, members of the same body, and co-partners in the promise in Christ Jesus through the gospel. Jesus could be the main attraction for everyone. So if you're still experiencing a bit of darkness in your life, well, maybe you're stuck in the prologue. If your heart's not throbbing yet, maybe you're just stuck on the appetizers. It's time for us to move beyond the warm-up band to the main attraction. It's time for us to see Jesus as that main attraction.